You expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Written by Michael G. Wilson and Richard Maybaum, once again directed by John Glenn, 1985's A View to a Kill. This film got a special place in my heart. It's one of my most beloved films in the series, despite the fact that it's not exactly a fan favorite. And I already did a video about this. But you know, I made a major mistake. In fact, I made the same mistake that every guy who first starts a YouTube channel later in his life seems to make, and that's I made one of my most beloved films the topic of my very first video. And of course, you can imagine it wasn't exactly a good video. It lacked in quality, it lacked in picture quality and in sound. And to be completely honest with you, I had a hard time talking to you in English, because for an Austrian guy in his 40s, it's not exactly an easy thing to do, to be honest with you. But I think I'm getting a little better with every video, so that's the reason for this video, because I thought I felt the need to do a proper video on this film, because it's so close to my heart. I have so much nostalgia for this, and it's still an important film. You know, why is it so important? Of course, the nostalgia factor is the number one factor for this. I got the most nostalgia for this film. It's the one I watched the most back in my childhood days. And I got beautiful memories. You know, it stands for everything that was good about my childhood. I really mean it. I only have great memories, you know, and everything surrounding the film, visiting my aunt and she showed it to me, and watching it with my brother. And yeah, it connects with a lot of beautiful memories and great feelings, and that's why it's still important, and it still makes produces great memories, because every now and then I show it to someone who hasn't seen it before, and we are laughing about it, and most of the time they're pretty amused. And so it continues to create great memories. And yeah, this movie is a big part of my life even. You know, I love the music. I'm still listening to the soundtrack. Yeah, every now and then. And you know what I'm talking about. You got great nostalgia, but the film somehow outlived the nostalgia and created, something new, and it somehow always stayed in my life. So it's very important. And not to get sentimental here, but maybe I should, because maybe I am. So let's talk about the film. First of all, this film has some of the best villains in the whole series. This film has amazing villains. And you know what we always say, a Bond film is only as great as its villains. So Grace Jones as a female henchman, as a henchwoman, unforgettable performance, exotic, glamorous, amusing, just exciting to watch. You cannot take your eyes off of her, because she's so interesting and so different and so exotic and charismatic, and she looks so glamorous. She perfectly fits in a Bond film, I think. And she's so memorable. Once you've seen this film, you never forget her looks and her performance. And you know, a lot of people, casual fans who every now and then catch a Bond film on TV, they always seem to remember this film first. They seem to remember two villains. They remember Jaws, and they remember her, because it's such an unforgettable performance, and because she's such an unforgettable presence. And for this alone, I love the film. Really, I think she's so great. Cannot take my eyes off of her, even after hundreds of times I've watched this. Same goes for Christopher Walken. I mean, the man oozes charisma. I think charisma perfectly describes the man. Very interesting face, good but strange looking guy. And yeah, he was always known for being, you know, a little strange. A strange guy, you know, very hard to describe, but strange in all the best ways, and highly charismatic. And he plays this, in a very over-the-top way. pretty crazy performance and over the top violent at times. A lot of people don't like this. I love this. There's this scene where he's murdering hundreds of people, shooting all of them and laughing while doing it. And he really seems to enjoy this. And even friends of his or some guys who worked for him. And it's a very dark scene, but strangely funny at the same time. At least for me, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But I always have to laugh watching this because he plays this in such an over-the-top way. And I think this perfectly fits the tone of the film. I think that's great. I love his performance. He's one of my favorite villains in the whole series. Maybe in my top 3 villains. And not only the main villains are great, I think there are also pretty funny side characters. Scarpine, for example, it's an interesting European actor. I think he's pretty amusing too. And there's, of course, Dr. Mortner, the Nazi doctor. I mean, come on, it's just fun. I like him. I like all of those evil, funny, evil little figures. Of course, they're not to be taken seriously, but it's amusing, and I think it perfectly fits the tone of the film. There's Jenny Flex, of course. There's amazing dialogue between Moore and her. When she's talking about going horse riding early in the morning, and Moore says something like, "Yeah, I'm an early riser myself." That's amazing. I love this stuff. So it's a very funny film. And talking about the characters, a major criticism about this film is Roger Moore's age. Most of the people that I know say he was way too old to play Bond by that time. I don't think so at all, to be completely honest with you. I'm serious. I think the guy always looked at least 15 years younger than he actually was. And he also does in this one. He looks, of course he had some plastic surgery, and as a fan you notice this. But I think he looks great, as he always did. And I never really got the criticism about his age. I'm sorry, I respect it, but I never got it. A lot of criticism also to the Bond girl in this film. Stacey Sutton, played by Tanya Roberts, who sadly passed away a few years ago. Is she the most interesting character? Is she the most complex and most fleshed out character in the series? Not at all. Is she great looking? Yes. And as I once said, sometimes that's enough. She just looks great. She looks over the top beautiful, in my opinion. And I even go as far as to say that she was the most beautiful girl in the whole franchise. The most beautiful Bond girl of them all. For that alone, I like it. Sometimes a beautiful woman is enough for a Bond film, I think. And I don't think she was unlikable or something. Yeah, she wasn't complex, and she was screaming a lot. Yeah, sometimes that gets a little on my nerves. I admit it, but I think she was likable, and I like the way she got dressed for this film. When she first comes out of this helicopter in this plain white outfit. I remember watching this back in my childhood days and thinking she looks like a princess. She looks so great, and I don't know. I was 4 years old or something, and I remember thinking this. She looks like some sort of a princess, and I also couldn't take my eyes off of her. So yeah, I like her a lot, and very sad for the actress, Tanya Roberts. The way she died was pretty tragic, I think, but that's another story. So I'm also a fan of hers. I'm sorry, I admit it. I'm a fan of hers. A lot of people say they don't like the action in this film, and they think the locations aren't interesting enough because they're very touristy. This is shot at the Eiffel Tower, for example. This is shot at the Golden Gate Bridge, for example. Tourist attractions. And I get the criticism, but I always thought that was pretty interesting, to stage some action scenes around those tourist locations. I think that's an interesting idea, and to me, that's very exciting. I mean, jumping off of the Eiffel Tower, what's not exciting about this? You know, if you have ever seen the making of this film, the stuntman who did this jump was BJ Worth, I think. And in an interview, he talked about how difficult this was to accomplish because it isn't high enough to do a jump like this, you know, because the parachute needs some time to open itself, to carry you. And if you don't get the right moment, at the right second, pulling the rope, I guess you are dead. You know, I guess you don't have enough time, you know, so it's very, what's not exciting about this? I never got the criticism. And isn't the Eiffel Tower beautiful? I mean, isn't this exotic enough? It's just because it's a tourist location, it's not interesting enough? I don't know. Same goes for the Tower Bridge. A Tower Bridge? Is it Tower Bridge? Golden Gate Bridge, sorry. I don't know. What forget about it. Yeah, Golden Gate Bridge, of course. And I mean, this thing, I mean, maybe it looks beautiful to me because I'm not American and I have never been there. So to me, it looks very exciting and very interesting. And I got sweaty palms watching those action scenes at top of the bridge. And what's not exciting about this? This is so, and it did such a great job, you know, switching between location shots and set pieces. Talking about set pieces, what they accomplished with the whole mining set, you know, that's used for the finale of the film. When I first heard that this was all built inside of a studio, inside of the Pinewood Studios, I almost couldn't believe it because it looks so real and so believable. You know, they flooding the whole thing with tons of water, and they do explosions and a lot of amazing action scenes inside of those mines. And yeah, still to this day, I cannot believe how it's possible to build such a gigantic set piece inside of a studio and make it look believable and make it look real. It's impressive, just impressive. And yeah, there's a lot of amazing set pieces and locations. Let's not forget the pre-title sequence. You know, the whole ski chase, I think it's just as great as other ski chases. Amazing stunt work. I think it's doing the snowboarding thing was pretty creative back in the day because it wasn't a thing. So great stuff, and I even like the Beach Boys thing. I will admit it right now. I'm a fan of this. I think it's just a feel-good moment. Gets me in a great mood, you know. It's just fun to watch. I like it, and yeah. It's a beautiful location, snowy environment. I always love snowy environments and ski chases in Bond films. So this is another great set piece, another great action scene. And of course, there are also not so great action scenes. And I will admit that the whole fire truck chase is stupid. And I hate it. And I always forward it when watching this film. And yeah, that's of course a crime for a Bond film. You know, creating an action scene which I need to forward because it lacks excitement and it looks silly, and yeah, it feels like some strange 70s Burt Reynolds comedy or something where they did 1 hour long car chases and stupid jokes, and I don't like this. There's another silly fight scene inside of Tracy's place, yeah, where they used noticeably pretty old actors, pretty old stunt guys, maybe to make Moore look a lot younger. And this comes off as very silly. I don't like it at all. And yeah, I totally get the criticism about those scenes. But I think, you know, the better action scenes in this film totally compensate for those flaws, you know, for those, let's call it mishaps. I think there are such great action scenes and set pieces. I'm able to overlook the not so great ones. I'm able to overlook those flaws, you know. I don't know, maybe because of nostalgia and because of my love for this film. John Barry did one of his finest scores for this film, let's be honest. It's at least a top 3 thing. Personally, I think it is his best score. Along with The Living Daylights, those two. I think those are his two. This is best work. It's so delicate, it's so classy, it's so over the top great. It's larger than life, but in an artistic way, not in a wild and stupid there's an action scene dun, 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 dun way. No, it's classy, and there are some melancholic elements to the score which I love. It's melancholic and it's beautiful, and I love everything about this. It's my most listened to score in the whole franchise, along with The Living Daylights. I think this is his best work, so this also contributes to my love for this film. Overall, I think this has amazing villains, unforgettable villains. It has a charming Roger Moore. It has a beautiful looking Bond girl. It has exciting locations. They may not seem exotic enough for some of you, but I think, as I said, what's not exciting about jumping from the Eiffel Tower or fighting at the Golden Gate Bridge? I don't know. If that's not exciting, what is? I don't know. It has one of the best scores ever made for a Bond film. Those are my reasons for my love of this film. And I hope I was able to convince some of you to give it another try. Maybe you're among the people who, don't really like this film and criticize it a lot. I get it. I totally get it. There are things worth criticizing about this. And it's not a serious film. It's a silly film. It's just a good time. It's almost a comedy. But come on, a very stylish comedy and full of charismatic characters you won't see in any other film. So please think about this when criticizing this film. You won't see such things in other comedies, in other action films. It's still, superior to most of the 80s action films I know. There are a lot of great ones, but this is way more stylish and way more exciting and way more unique. One thing I forgot to talk about is Duran Duran's main title track. Also one of my favorite ones. I think it's a perfect mixture between 80s pop music and orchestral Bondian elements. Also beautiful work in the title sequence itself. The fire and ice theme and the neon lights, very 80s, but very, very stylish again, and very, very beautiful aesthetics. Aesthetically very pleasing, the whole thing. So I think that's another thing about this film. It's like every other Bond film, just aesthetically very pleasing and beautiful to look at, to put it simply. So give it another try, and maybe you like it this time. Maybe you appreciate it a little more. And thank you for watching. Love you, love the Bond community, and see you very soon.